How's it going, good people? Today on the agenda, I will be comparing the old RHT Services site to the new RHT Services website. I did make some changes to the site, and the purpose of making these changes were to better delineate between the two divisions of services. Now, when it comes to the actual business aspect of things, they are all one entity. However, they do operate in two distinct and different environments. Thus, separating them out, I believe, will bring more clarity to the website, in addition to getting users directly to the content that they are looking for faster without having to filter through the content that is completely irrelevant. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean by that is the home improvement services don't necessarily tie in with the technology services. So if they're looking for how to get a doorbell replaced, yes, those two things cross, but the main objective and what most people typically see is getting a doorbell installed is a home improvement service and not so much a technology service. But I'll go into that a little bit more later. Thus, the new website is over here on the right and the old website is here on the left. So I'm going to go ahead and go into, this is what you'll come to. So you'll either have to pick home improvement or technology. If you pick home improvement, you can click on this card pretty much anywhere. This is the way I set it up. And it brings you into the home improvement section of the website. As you note that I do have a new Jumbotron set up here, different quote, as well as different subheading. These things I put into ChatGPT and it said, hey, use this. And so that's what I did. I made some modifications to what ChatGPT gave me, but nonetheless, this is kind of the foundation for the Jumbotron. Also, when it comes to the call to action buttons, they are a different color. As you can tell, this is red, this is yellow. The reason being is because I did research on UI UX, and one of the things they point out is that you want to highlight the call to action buttons by using a color that is not used anywhere else on the site. Hence, anywhere there is a red button, that is a call to action. Now, some of this stuff like the Our Services section remains the same. And the About Us, I did make some modifications here. I used this text here, got generated by ChatGPT. I did double check and tweak it as need be, and this is what it gave me. I also moved the images around to accommodate the changes that it made. And I'll probably put the social media stuff back in here, but that remains to be seen. The customer reviews are still the same. And then the bottom section here, ready to get started versus contact us. This, in my opinion, is a better verbiage. In addition to the research that I did about how to improve your business website, said to do something like this instead of just contact us, like ask questions like, hey, I'm ready to get started. How do I do that? And then answer those questions in like the following sections or so forth. Again, we have call to action buttons that are a different color, as you see there. And I also created a mailing list using PHP list. That will be a different topic for a different time. However, I did create a button that would link to that so that visitors can subscribe to the mailing list and get notified about tips and any offers like discounts that I may be doing in the future. The bottom section, I did change the color to it. Overall, it is the same, but I did also remove the icons that you see over here on the left. In my opinion, those icons do look great. However, they do not necessarily add value to the link, thus removing them. All right, so coming back, or actually we'll stay down here at the bottom. So we'll go to the All Service Areas page. And so this page is relatively same. One adjustment that I did do is add the list of zip codes that I serve with this handyman service. I was asked by a third party to provide the list of zip codes so that they can put it into their system in case they get any work in the area in the future. Now, my theory on why they chose zip codes instead of cities is because sometimes an area is referred to a particular city, even if it is not in that city limits. In the case of rural Alabama, there are some areas that are referred to by a city, in some cases that are in a different county. Now, why is that the case? Well, the reason being is in the rural areas, the mail service is not necessarily delivered by the city that it is closest to. It is delivered from the city that, based upon how the postal service set things up. So it is possible that you could live in a different county and your mail comes out of a city that you don't actually live in or are close to. Thus, using the zip codes is an alternative way of making sure that you're not traveling to an area that is well beyond, what you would normally serve. One thing I also added is on the service areas and the services pages is ready to get started with their project and giving them a link, or a button in this case, to the contact us. Also, again, here's that newsletter link that will go, and this shows up, the newsletter link that is shows up across all of the websites. Next, we'll jump over to the all services page. Now, if you notice, I just have a list of all the services here. On the new setup, I have the popular services listed at the top, which is the same services that are listed on the homepage, or the section homepage, if you will. But then I also changed up the full list to be just the name of that service, instead of including the body text. Now, the reason I did this is because there are a lot of services on this particular page. Also, when you're looking for a list of service, trying to filter through baby proofing home, then the text underneath it, then get into baby assembly is a lot more difficult, in my opinion, than baby proofing home, bifold door, okay, we're closed, and then bed assembly, there we are. And so it's less text to have to decipher through when you're trying to find the exact service that you are looking for, thus getting rid of the introductory or additional text here in this card. And these are bootstrap cards, by the way. They only have I believe a H4 element in as the heading or the name of the service. One other thing I'll point out is I don't use the static navigation bar. I thought about doing that, but I had some issues in the past with the padding here, and on some devices the padding would work correctly, on others it wouldn't. Thus, I decided on this new version, we're just going to have a static bar instead of a floating bar like this one is doing. So in the worst case, you get halfway down the page, you can go back to the top, or you can scroll all the way to the bottom, because the links here, pretty much all the links at the top are down here at the bottom in some shape, form, or fashion. Now, I don't have the store link, and the reason being is because I'm going to refactor things with the store, so I'm taking it out for the time being, but I will add it back at some point in the future. Now, I've renamed projects over to blog. However, I may change projects, or change the blog section back to projects in the future because of SEO, keyword ranking, and trying to match the URL. As you see, I have blog here as the link, but it goes to the articles section. The content has been separated based upon where it actually best belongs. Thus, the home improvement checklists are in the home improvement section. The technology stuff, like the Drupal 8 course, Drupal 7 course, as you see, are not in the home improvement section. Those are in the technology section of the website. All right, now let's say you come into the website and you see all these home improvement related things, but you saw in the beginning that, hey, we have technology services too. Well, I'll put a link down here at the bottom of the page that will let you go over to the technology services section of the site. That way you don't have to go back until you get to the home page and then go through the other door. Now, this particular technology section, I have not had an opportunity to add images. However, I've done the styling and I've included the text. Majority of the text that you see on this screen actually was done by ChatGPT through a series of prompts. I asked, for example, for this particular card, I asked, give me a description of what custom software is and include the business name and a limit, I think, of 250 characters maximum. And this is what it ended up generating. And likewise, I did something similar for these other two cards here, and it did the same. And thus why their links are somewhat close to each other. I also added to provide an about us text, and as you see, it has done that as well. And then I went back and added the links in to the various service pages that correspond to that. Last, we have a ready to start and a contact us, and of course we have a subscription, as you see here, for the newsletter. Also note that the call to action buttons on this section of the website are green in comparison to the other section, which was red. Now, I don't have many sections on this side of the site, although that may change in the future. As you see, I'm using the older styling of services because of the fact I don't have any technology photos or technology related photos at this time. Once I do get some, I'll update this to reflect the new styling like what you saw on the home improvement side of the website. And also the full list of services is done in the same manner. As you see, we have the cards with the title here, and if you click one of these, it takes you to that corresponding service and has a bunch of questions that are there being answered. Also, you have the contact us, which is in the green, and that takes you to the contact us page there. The footer, as you can tell, is different. There's only 3 columns here, whereas with the other, there were 4 columns. The reason being is because I don't have any service areas when it comes to technology. And the reason I say that is because websites, you don't have to go to that customer to do their website. You can do it from your home. You don't have to go to a customer to talk about their networking equipment. You can do it from their home. Now, if you're trying to set things up, yes, then the setup of things or things that actually require going somewhere would probably be more under the home improvement and not so much under the technology, even though those two fields can kind of cross over and overlap each other in that regard when it comes to like networking, setting up Wi-Fi, and so forth. So those are the changes that I did, and I'll pull up the source code here for the moment. And if we get back over here, and let's make this a little bit bigger. And so I actually did change the structure. So if we come over here to main website docs, and as you see, I have a home improvement section which corresponds to the home improvement section that I showed you earlier. And then I also have the technology section. Now the images I didn't move, but I probably will move at a later point in time, or I just may leave them there. I did get rid of a lot of the pages that I am no longer needing, but some of the pages like these, which are referenced in older videos, I wanted to keep them here because of the fact those I could throw in the 301 redirect. However, I didn't want to do that. So I kept those pages here and just told it, hey, redirect to wherever it needs to go. And this command or this meta attribute is recognized by the theme. If we jump down to the theme, I have a layout.html, and in this layout.html, it actually does the same as the base HTML would. So a lot of this I just kind of copied and then tweaked it to make it fit the new setup. So we have the ability to display messages at the top of the page. For instance, like a lot of websites, they may be running a sale or a discount. You can put that up here at the top of the page and say, hey, if you sign up by so forth, certain so-and-so deadline, then you can get in on this sale. Now here I have a number of options that are being set based upon which side of the site you're on. So if you're not on any particular side of the site, you get the home URL to / and then the buttons or call to action buttons are yellow like they were in the old version of the site. The technology stuff, the call to action button is green with white text, and in the home improvement it is red with white text. And that is, these variables are used in various places, not everywhere, but in various places in the theming here. Next, we have the navigation. It is separated based upon the condition. Notice there is no default condition. So if you're not within either one of those sections of the site, you don't get a navigation bar in the upper right. And to demonstrate that, I will come back over here. We'll do our privacy policy, which is not in a particular section of the site. And as you see, there is no navigation up here on the right-hand side. Scrolling down and continuing with things, we got our link. If there are links, we also have to check for the Jumbotron. So this is for the home page of each respective section, and we have a sub template, or for those of you that are familiar with Razor and C#, we'll call it a partial view. And this partial view actually just fills in the section within the larger template here of the layout.html. And so I intended on stuff that could be segmented out to segment it out. Thus, the home improvement section does get a separate homepage from the technology. And I acknowledge that this probably needs to be renamed to be home improvement homepage.html, which I'll probably update at a later point in time. Continuing on, as you see, I have page title being displayed. And so you don't need to show the page title on the home page. And if we come back over here, so there is no page title on this page. The page title is up here in the top section, but not on the page itself. Thus, let's go to one of these other pages here. All right. Looks like I'm missing a page. That's not good. All right, and so custom software, as you see, matches the title up here, custom software, and so that will show correctly. Then the various sections, articles, services, contact, are here, and they have their information in addition to the city narrative. So the city narrative, if I come back out and go to the handyman section, and we'll come over to Montgomery. All right, so this is what the city narrative looks like. Now you have the ability to add some additional text, but there's some default text here like need help with your home, and this text is in the HTML template itself. So if I come over to home city, as you see, are you tired of putting off projects? Need help with your home in the name of the city. Are you tired of putting off projects, which is that block right here, and then local handyman services, which is here. Now, this additional text is actually text on the page itself. So if I pull the page up, Montgomery, there we go. So looking for a handyman. Yeah, so looking for a handyman right here and so forth. The rest of that is on the actual page itself. So you can merge the two things together. If you come back over here, so we have our inserted page here, and then we have the content from the actual markdown file that's being inserted. For context, I did not mention this earlier, but this website actually is using mkdocs for static site generation. So no databases here, no WordPress or anything of that nature. And the rest of the layout of the website is similar in nature. We do have some automatic links being generated. So for like the services offered, that is being done automatically. What it does is it looks through the entire navigation of the website, and then this if condition here, which goes 1, 2, 3 levels deep, which corresponds to the 1, 2, and then 3rd level of URLs, looks at the URL and says, or looks at the category and says, is this a favorite item? If it is a favorite item, it will populate this upper section here. If it's, let's go down. It will populate this favorite section here. And if it's not a favorite item, it will still show up, but it'll show up on the home page, and that is being done through another partial view. That being said, that will wrap things up for this video. I wanted to at least show you how you can use mkdocs to restyle a website, in addition to some of the changes that I made to this website for rhtservices.net. More information about the RHT Services website can be found at the RHT Services website at rhtservices.net. Comments or questions, please drop those down below. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to subscribe and follow, and we'll see you in the next video.